Hey, welcome to our show. I'm Dr. Latifat. I'm the host of the MoneyFitMD show. This is where we talk about all things money and mindset because I truly believe that when we pair these two things together, it is pretty much impossible for us to not create wealth. So I hope you enjoy the show. Make sure you learn, make sure you take actions, and make sure you share the link to the show with all the humans in your life so that we can all start to build wealth together from the inside out. Enjoy this episode. Hey guys, welcome to another episode on the podcast. I am so excited that you guys are listening to me. You are in for a big treat. You are probably listening to me on a podcast right now, so you do not see where I am recording. And I have very limited view because I cannot move my camera around for too long because if I do, I may lose the internet. But we're currently in Morocco at the time of this recording. It is hot in the world. It is hot. However, it is gorgeous. It is beautiful. I think the best time to come here is usually like towards the end of the year, like September. Apparently, December, Christmas time is like super busy here. However, it actually rained a couple of days ago, which brought down the temperature by a few notches. But it is, it really is just an intricately beautiful country. I was talking to my husband just a couple of days, actually, no, earlier today, about this whole thing about different kinds of beauty. And I think the reason why I really appreciate Morocco because it really feels like me, right? Where I'm not this like shiny object, like, gold dripping from the top to the bottom. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like when I compare the beauty of Morocco to like even the beauty of some of the palace in Ocasso that we've seen throughout Europe, like the difference is just clear. And you will miss the beauty if you're looking for something like shiny and glamorous. So I do feel like it reflects me. So I'm literally looking at all this beautifully hand painted beauties all around me that is just gorgeous and intricate. And honestly, I feel like someone gets me, like they get me in the sense of what I really define as beauty. But that's not what I'm talking about on the episode today. But what I'm going to talk about is going to be so helpful because regardless of where you are in your money journey, in your financial journey, this is something that I believe that you have to work on if you want to grow to your next level. Before I go into this episode, though, I want to make sure that you guys are registered for our upcoming free masterclass that's happening. And, if you're listening to this the week of or before August 29th, then you still have time to catch the live training. If you're listening to this after, I want you to still go check out the website, which is moneyfitmd.com/T as in Tom, M as in Mary, D as in doctor. So the millionaire doctor, because what I'm going to be sharing on this masterclass is going to be potentially transformative for you, because I truly believe that if I want to help people, I have to help people. And I do that to an amazing degree inside of our money school for women physicians, which is only for women physicians. And I'm definitely inviting you if you believe that you're committed and ready to build that seven-figure life. However, for this particular webinar, I do want to share some simple yet profound things that has literally changed what I do when it comes to my money and how I believe that if we can learn how to do this, it really would change the money game for us. Because honestly, what we've been taught about money and creating seven figures and multiple seven figures, a lot of it is actually not true. For us, right? Doesn't mean that it's not true for some people, but for us, it may not be true. If you want to do this and create the kind of future that you want before you like become, and before you become 80 years old. So anyways, I want you to go share. It's going to be super helpful. It's going to be high impact. And go to the link, moneyfitmd.com/T as in Tom MD. So if you listen to this right now, pause, go there and go access that live or a recording that we'll have available for you guys if you missed this announcement before the event actually happened. So what I want to talk to us about today is how to find our expensive thoughts. And when I say expensive, I mean like thoughts that are costing you money and life that you want. And the thing is this, if you think about it, like we all have our thoughts and we have thousands and thousands of thoughts that go through our heads every single day. And it's like a buffet. The one that we choose starts to become what creates the future that we want in our reality. So when I think about like my life right now as, Dr. Latifat, what I've created in my life to this point are the results of the thoughts that I have or the thoughts that I chose not to have. And I'm saying choose because they're optional. It doesn't always feel that way, right? Because sometimes what happens is like we think that our thoughts are the only way. And so the way you may be processing or thinking about something, you may think that's the only option possible, but it actually isn't. But everything that you've created in life so far is the result of thoughts that you've picked or thoughts you've chosen not to pick. However, if you want to go to that next level, if you want to change the future that you want to have, if you want to up level to the degree that I believe you're capable of, it's going to require changing how you think, changing the thoughts that you have so that you can create a different result. You may have heard those codes before, which is whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are correct. So for example, when I'm thinking about like our financial journey and the fact that 7 years ago, I knew zero about money, like literally zero, was like embarrassingly not existent, which is why like anytime people talk to me and they're like, Latifat, oh my goodness, I have so much shame, I have guilt or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, I get you. I've been there before. I know what it was to hide. And if you haven't listened to the episode that I did right before this about shame, go listen to it. I truly believe that it's going to bless you and change and normalize part of this conversation so that you don't think you're the only person that does not know what needs to be done, or maybe you're the only person that was in the dark about whatever it is, or maybe not even in the dark. Maybe you're like want to spend and you have shame with spending, right? All the stuff. Maybe you want to be a freaking stay-at-home parent as a physician and you have shame or guilt about that. Like, we just need to like mind our own freaking business. Seriously, like tell people to mind their own business, get out of your business so that you can create what you're meant to create in this world, because ultimately you're going to look back and it's your life, not mine. When you're on your deathbed, you're not going to say, Latifat told me not to achieve my dream. You're not going to say like this blah, blah, blah person told me not to achieve my dream. It's all on you. So we have to take responsibility. And because we do take responsibility, it means that we have the capacity to also change and create what we want to create. So anyway, so back to expensive thoughts. So there are a few things that I do want to clarify though, because when it comes to like thoughts, I think there's some misconceptions that we have, especially when it comes to like creating the money and life that we want. So the first one that I want to share is sometimes we have this misconception that our thoughts about certain things may be good or bad. And the reason why I don't like that is because many times as physicians, as women, we've been socialized to people please so much that when we're thinking a thought is good or bad, we start to judge ourselves, and that can actually prevent us from auditing the thoughts that may not be helping us. So instead of thinking good or bad, I want us to think, is it helpful to what I'm trying to create or not helpful? Doesn't mean like whether it's true or not true even, because for example, there's a thought that may be helpful for me in this season, but then in the next season may not be helpful for me. So if the thought is not helping you create what you want to create, then why about not taking that along with you, right? If I keep having that thought and repeating that thought over and over again, I'm going to create actions as a result of the thought that I'm having. And again, if your actions are not what you want, then it's time for us to do differently and change it without judgment or shame. And so your thoughts are not necessarily good or bad about money or wealth or what you want to build. It's just a matter of whether it's helpful for you or not. And I'm going to share some specific thoughts that have been helpful for me or not helpful for me. And again, depending on where I'm going, it may be the ticket that I need. But if I'm trying to get to a different destination, then that thought may not be the one that's going to get me there. So for example, if I'm trying to fly from, say I'm trying to fly from Morocco to London, right? If I have the ticket that's going to take me from Morocco to London, it will get me there. But then if I'm trying to go to Spain, I cannot use the same ticket that would get me to London to Spain. I have to make sure I have the right ticket. So think about your thoughts as the ticket to your future, the tickets to what you want to create. And when I'm saying your future, I'm not meaning like your future in like 40 years or 100 years only. I'm talking about your future tomorrow, your future later on today, right? If you want to have dinner with your family, your thoughts about your time is going to affect whether you get the ticket to that or not. Does that make sense? So they're not good or bad. It's just a matter of whether it's a ticket to where you want to go or if it's not taking you to the destination that you want to get to. The other thing I want to make sure I emphasize about our thoughts is that our thoughts have created what we have right now, right? Because if you see that as the case, then it makes you separate yourself a little bit more from your thoughts and helps you realize that your thoughts can actually change, right? Your thoughts are honestly, we're meant to grow, not necessarily in a hustly, grindy way, but we're meant to evolve as humans. We're meant to create different than our past, right? And so when you're thinking about the thoughts that got you here, those same thoughts is not going to get you to the next level. Right. So I will give you an example. A lot of times when you think about, like right now, I'm raising my kids and we have kids of different ages. And when I think about, for example, we've been talking a lot about like self-control and not overindulging, like enjoying, right? Enjoying things, but not overindulging to the point of like overeating or over consuming, whether that's like TV, whether that's like spending, whether that's like food, whatever it is, right? And when I think about my kids right now, like the lessons that I want them to learn in that this age is going to be different from what they're going to need when they're in their 20s or what they're going to need when they're in their 30s, right? And so imagine if they're judging me based on the thoughts that I give them to help sustain them through their childhood, right? So the key is not that the thoughts are not helpful for them. The key is that what they need in the season may be different from what they need in the next season, right? So your thoughts, all the thoughts that you've chosen out of the buffet of thoughts is created your life right now, right? And that's without judgment. You may love your life and that's great. Hold on to those thoughts. However, if you're trying to move to the next level for you, then it's going to be important for you to recognize the fact that you may need to tap into different thoughts to be able to get you there, right? So when thinking about like what is enough, it's something that comes up a lot, right? Maybe what you've created is enough because right this season you've decided that I don't want to invest anymore right now. Maybe you've decided that I want to pause right now with investing. And so knowing that this is enough and I have exactly what I need and I have exactly what I'm going to need may actually be the thought that's going to be helpful for you. Right? So just keep those two things in mind because I believe that when we do, it separates us from the judgment and the shame, but also now helps us understand that if you have to look at the journey that you're trying to embark on, then making sure that you have the right things to get you to that journey is going to be helpful. Is this making sense at all? No? Yes? All right. Let me know, by the way, if you've never left me a review before, what the heck are you doing with your life? Make sure you leave us a review, whatever platform. Let me know if this is helpful or if there are topics that you actually want me to delve into, then let me know as well so that I can address some of those on future episodes. And also, if you leave us a review, I can give you a shout out on our social media platforms so that I can let you know how much I appreciate you listening to this as well. So the question now becomes that how do we find the thoughts? Because sometimes it's easy theoretically, but then how do we now apply that into our own lives in order to be able to audit our thoughts ourselves and find expensive thoughts, right? So the first thing is increasing that awareness of ourselves and awareness of the actions that we may be taking that's creating results for us. So, for example, if you're someone that thinks that you want to decrease how many hours you're working, right? But you're not doing that. There is a thought that is causing you to. And the thought may be as simple as, I am behind in my finances, right? And keep in mind, I always tell people that whenever I'm coaching people in my program, I coach them about their thoughts, but I also coach them about their actions that they're taking. And if the thoughts that they have is not giving them the actions that they want, then it's time for us to change the thoughts or just help them take different actions that they need to take. And sometimes it's changing their thoughts. Other times it's like pretty much like finding emotions that's going to help fuel the actions that they want to take so that they can create the result that they want to create, right? So if you are thinking, I am behind, that's a thought that can be very helpful for you if it's causing you to take the actions that you need to take in order to take the actions that is going to create the result that you want to create. However, if I'm behind is creating the exact opposite. It's causing you to grind harder and not rest. It's causing you to not invest. It's causing you to not actually take risks. Then you can see how that action may actually be taking you away from what you want. Because if you're not taking calculated risk, then your finances is not going to grow to the level that you want to grow. And this is actually something that I recently coached a number of people inside of our program And the funny thing is, even though they had the thought that they are behind, the reality, the actual fact was actually not in was actually not going well with that thought, meaning that they actually were doing great when it came to their finances. And in fact, for a lot of those women, I had them do an exercise, which is looking at their assets and looking at if they did not invest a penny more into their money and into their wealth, what would they create in like 10 years? What would they have in 15 years? What would they have in 20 years? The goal is not for them to not invest, but the goal is for for it to sink in to their deepest core that they truly are not behind, right? And so when they understand that, then it makes it actually easier for them to take even more aggressive actions, which means that they're never, ever going to be behind. It's really crazy, the power of our mindset, really. So just understanding that, finding those actions that you're taking that's not leading to the actual thing that you truly, truly want to create is going to be important. And then asking yourself, what are those sentences, those simple sentences that's causing you to not do what you want or doing what you don't want to do, if that makes sense. So just sitting down and doing that exercise may be helpful. So for example, if I want to create like 20 podcasts, but in podcast episodes, but I keep telling myself that I don't have time, you can see how I may desire one thing, but my action is leading me to the exact opposite. Versus if I actually did things like change my thoughts of like, okay, maybe I have all the time that I need, or maybe what time do I actually have, and use that time to create what I can, as opposed to focusing on I don't have time. Or maybe the same is going for investment, where you're telling yourself, I don't have money to invest. But instead of doing that, or I don't have money to invest to a higher level, but instead of doing that, why don't you ask yourself, what do I actually have right now? What can I create with that as a way of starting the momentum going? Does that make sense? Another very specific example is if I look at the number of real estate doors that we don't have thousands of doors. And the reason why we don't have thousands of doors is because I have thoughts that's causing us to not have thousands of doors. And so if I want to have thousands of doors, I have to ask myself, what thoughts actually helped me create the number of doors we have right now, right? And then ask myself, what thought am I going to need in order to be able to create 1,000 doors? And literally every single thing that we want is one or a few series of thoughts that pull some actions away from being created. So let's just have fun with that. If I want to create 1,000 doors, what can I do right now? I'm going to ask myself, okay, what market do I want to invest in? How much would it cost? What down payment would it require? I may not have all the down payments, but who do I know that I can have like the assets that I have, which is my ability to know the keys to invest in, the lingo, right? What kind of assets do I have that can be an asset to people that may have the cash but not want to take the time or have the knowledge, right? And what knowledge do I even need at a higher level in order to be able to create that? You get what I mean? So if I ask myself this, I can workshop it, take those actions, and guess what's going to happen? I'm going to create 1,000 doors. It's not going to happen overnight. It may happen in 1 year. It may happen in like 5 years. It may happen in 10 years. But if I want to create that, I have to ask myself, audit my thoughts and find the expensive thoughts that's costing me to not have 1,000 doors. Right now, I'm not interested in having that yet. And that thought by itself is why I haven't created that. Does that make sense? I am not interested is a thought that's cost me to not have 1,000 doors. So if I want 1,000 doors, it's like, how can I increase my interest in that? How can I become interested? And if I'm interested, what actions would I take? Right? And now I list out all the actions. I take all those actions no matter what. And guess what's going to happen? Ta-da, I create 1,000 doors. But I really am not interested right now. So that's an expensive thought, but it becomes expensive if I actually want that and I'm not creating it. But if I don't want that result, then this is a thought that I truly would like to keep right now. That is going to change, right? We're creating our plans for the next 3 years, and whatever that is going to require new thoughts, new actions, new feelings, new knowledge, right? It's going to take me to up level in some ways as well. And then I will be able to create it. So does that make sense? I hope that is helping you. So just sit down and ask yourself, what is that thing that may feel like a stretch right now? What is that thing that you dream of, but you don't have yet? And how can you do the same exercise that I just talked to you guys about to create that for yourself? Okay. And then the number 2 thing is this, just also remembering to guys that sometimes we're so close to our own thoughts that we don't actually know what thoughts we have subconsciously that's creating the results that we have. And that's why I'm a huge fan of coaching. I have coaches, not even one coach. I have coaches too. Like, honestly, I truly believe that the bigger my dreams, the bigger the impact that I want, then the more intentional I have to be about making sure that I have the resources, including the coaching that I need in order to be able to create that. So I'm not, I mean, in fact, I'm a huge fan of like being in integrity and making sure that we practice what we preach, really. And so for me, if I want to create, I have to do this. So if you want to create as well, you may need to leverage and think and figure out how you can create the resources that you need. So if you're a woman physician, maybe you want to up level your finances. You want to create that 7-figure life for yourself. You want to diversify your income. You want to work more. You want to work less. You want to grow that business that you're thinking about. You want to invest for the future. You want to be the CEO of your finances. These are all the things that is going to require you to change how you think. Is also going to require you to change the kind of actions that you're also taking as well. Because if you don't change your thoughts, if you don't change your actions, you're not going to create what you want. And it's just going to be a wish as opposed to a dream that can be created. In fact, I was going to post something on social media, which I may post. What was it actually? I had that thought earlier today. I was like, okay, if the size of your dreams are reflected by the kind of actions you're choosing to take or not take, what conclusions will we make about what your dreams are? Because you know your dreams. So again, I'm going to repeat that. If the size of your dreams or the quality of your dreams are reflected by the kinds of actions you're choosing to take or not take, what conclusions will we make? That's my take on for you. So my question for you is this: what conclusion would I make about your finances when I look at the actions that you're taking or not taking? When I look at what you're signing up for or not signing up for, when I think about whether you're choosing to stay and watch or whether you're choosing to get in the game and be in the ring to take the action that you need to create to have the 7-figure life that you keep saying that you want, the multiple 7-figure life that you keep saying that you want. Because if you're not taking actions, it's just wishful thinking. So I hope this has been helpful for you. This is stuff that's changed my life. It's changed the life of the women that I'm helping. And I truly want this information to help you create some changes that you want. And when you're ready, then I would love to invite you to be a part of our money school. This is a 12-month container for women physicians that are committed to creating their own best life yet. I want you to create your money. And I want you to create the life that you want, not one or the other. It's both. Because if you have one or the other, you're not going to feel what you think you want to feel. And honestly, I hope I'm an example for myself. And I honestly hope that it's an example for you too, of the fact that you can create what you want. Your past doesn't have to determine your future, and your past thoughts doesn't have to create what you want for your future, because it's not going to. What got you here isn't going to get you there. So when you're ready to up level, come find us. The way you do that is you go to MoneyFitMD.com. You find a way that you can contact us, schedule a call with us. It will be our pleasure and an honor to serve you inside of our container if it's within the times that we're open. We're not open all the time right now. I've kind of changed that recently where we're not open all the time, but go ahead and schedule a call with us and we'll be happy to chat with you so that you're ready to jump on when our doors are open next. I love you guys. I'm waiting for you. And don't forget to go to MoneyFitMD.com/TMD so that you can learn more about how you too can create your 7-figure life. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.